So in previous class, we discussed about ternary to write it directly within a print function. But when it comes to ternary, is it possible for us to catch the result of this ternary? So what I mean to say, we are using directly ternary to print the result of biggest of two numbers, directly to print the result of biggest of three numbers as well. But now here what I'm asking is it possible for us to catch the ternary result? Yeah, the answer is yes. The answer is yes, it is possible. So for that, same requirement if I take, the requirement is write a program to print biggest of two numbers. Biggest of two different numbers. Then for this, already we have written the code. So here I'm writing one more new point for us. If I write a syntax of declaring two variables like this, int a equals 10, comma, b equals 20, semicolon. Is it correct? Is it correct in Java? In one line, can we
No,
declare
sir.
the place of two variables?
No, sir.
Absolutely yes. It's possible. If you're writing int a equals to 10, then semicolon, then b equal to 20, then this is wrong. This is not possible. But this is possible. Yeah. So just a new point. Then followed by the same ternary expression we are writing. So first condition, then question mark, then the conclusion of true result. What's true? A is big. Since is big is there, it's a string kind of message. Then colon separation. Then false message, that is B is big. Then end of double quotes. If you write this inside a print statement, we'll get the output. But if at all we want to catch this result, what is this result type? A is big something in double quotes is a result. B is big in double quotes is a result. Therefore, so if we have to end with semicolon, it's not part of syntax. It's part of a line of code. Then assignment operator, we can use a string data type with a programmer defined choice variable. And we can print this yes variable data also, which is also same as the previous one only. So here I'm just printing. I want to use some ternary result in some other ways. Then in that way, we can store it according to the expressions result type. We can store it. For example, in place of this A is big, I'm using only A. In place of this B is big, I'm using only B. Now how to catch it? A and B are which type of values? Numbers. A is a variable. What's the value? Number. Therefore, we have to use some int. Yes, this is the scenario. Yeah. So this is how we can use a ternary result to catch also depends on expressions result type, not based on the conditions. Am I clear with this? Yeah. So then online, am I clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yes, sir.
The next.
Yes, sir.
So please, if I'm going fast, please stop me. If you think that I'm going fast, please stop me. The third type of condition statements that Java supports is what? Switch. First of all, after learning if else conditions, after learning ternary, still why we should learn one more condition statements? Are these two not enough? They are enough. Then why switch is there? So there is a drawback. In if else only, we discussed one scenario. If some condition, then its alternate block as else if, then condition, its alternate block like this multiple, then else part is there. When JVM execute this particular code, what is the execution flow? It starts from where? Will JVM anytime goes directly to else block? Directly else if block? No. JVM
No, sir.
comes from
Check over.
first if. This is the first one. True or false, that's secondary situation. But JVM will execute this condition block first. Assume this is false. Then where JVM goes? Next else if. Again, assume this is also false. Then next else if like this. Then finally JVM comes to else block. assume all scenarios are false only. Then after 4 or 5 executions of remaining blocks, then JVM is coming to the corresponding else block. Will it be better if it directly jumps to the required block? Yes or no? For example, if you are writing day number equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, then finally none. Then here, if you are giving the day number as 4, then it is better to come from 1, 2, 3, then 4, or directly if it comes to 4, it's better. Directly if it comes to 4, it is better approach. I mean, we can get the results faster. Such type of provision is possible with if-else conditions? No, not possible. So therefore, switch will be executed like that. It is possible like that. With the help of switch, we go to the expected condition only, and only that block will be executed. Then execution will be stopped. That's where switch will comes into the requirement. When ternary should be used?
If else is used.
Ternary is used to replace if else only. But when switch has to be used? Switch is used to replace series of if else statements. Switch is used to replace series of if else statements. Ternary is only to replace if else. Switch is used to replace series of if else statements. That is if else if and else if and all those things. So this is the place where we have to use the switch. This is place where we have to use the switch condition block. Yeah. So again, before we go for any program on this switch, again it's primary to understand the syntax. Okay. I need some fresh page for that. Let me go to new page. The switch syntax. So here, first, switch is a predefined keyword in Java. Switch, parenthesis, this first part, switch is a predefined keyword. Then followed by, so here we have to write something called as existing variable or expression. Then the corresponding switch body with open and closed curly braces. So this is the first part. Then in this, what is this switch? Switch is a predefined keyword. It is a predefined keyword. The next, here we are writing something called as existing variable. Depends on the requirement. First we'll be declaring some data type with some variable name equal some data and then semicolon. This is nothing but existing variable we have to use in place of this. Existing variable means this is how we have to use the existing variable, depends on the requirement. With examples, you'll understand much more better. Okay. So then followed by, what is there here? Expression. So in if conditions, we discuss some expressions, correct? Then here, what type of expression is allowed in place of a switch? So for example, if you write 10 greater than 2, what's the result of this one? True. If you write 10 less than 2, what is this? False. These are also expressions only. And if you write some 10 plus 2, what's the result? True or false? It's a value. Then if you write some 10 modulo 2, what's the result? It's a value. Correct or not? Fine. Modulo will take remainder. 0. So these are some results. Then which type of expressions are allowed in place of this expression? When it comes to if else, if you are having some expression, this expression has to be a Boolean type of expression where it has to give the end result as true or false only. But when it comes to switch, does true or false type of expressions are allowed or result oriented expressions are allowed? Guess it.
Both are allowed.
Both are allowed. Anybody else? When it comes to switch, such type of expressions where the result is true or false is not allowed. We cannot write such type of expressions in place of this switch expression. Only Result oriented are allowed, but not the true or false type of things. That's the first point. Then inside switch will be having a case, then predicted value 1, then colon. For this predicted value 1, we can write some number of lines of Java code, then followed by a break keyword. The next case PV2 predicted value 2, then colon some Java code, then break. Like this, we can write any number of case labels, depends on the requirement, but with different predicted values. We can't have the same value again and again. Like this, any number of case labels are allowed, no restriction. The next, at the end, we'll be having one more label called as default case label. For cases, we'll be having a predicted values. For default, we will not have a predicted value. Just default, then colon, then some Java code, then followed by a break statement. This is the syntax of switch case in Java. And those who knows JavaScript, it's exactly the same thing. Then here, what is this case? And what is this default? Default case are predefined keywords. Along with switch. These are also predefined keywords only. We heard this default word before or previously. Where is that?
Public, private, default.
In place of access modifier, we discussed that public, private, default, and protected also allowed. There, are we writing any default as a word in spelling? No.
No, sir.
At an access modifier level, default is allowed, but we should not write anything there. Inside switch body only, as of now, is allowed to write a default. If you are writing anywhere else as of now, then that is error. Okay, only inside switch only it's allowed. Okay, there is one more thing called as interface also it's allowed. So these are the only two places where default will be written. The remaining places as access modifier, we have to not write anything, that's a default. Okay, the next step. So here, break is also a predefined keyword only. Break also predefined keyword. Yeah, switch, case, default, break. All these four are predefined keywords in this syntax. So all are must be typed in lowercase letters only. So this is the syntax, switch syntax here. The next initial switch version, I mean from Java 1.4 version onwards. Before that, there is no proper support for switch, but current version I am talking about. What type of variables are allowed? I mean, can we use a byte type of variable and short type of variable and int type of variable, long type of variable, float type of variables, then double, then char, then bool, then string. So these are the data types which we are using as of now. This variable can be out of all these possibilities, which type is allowed? That's also one more important point. Can we use byte type of variable here? Yes, we can use it. Can we use short type of variable? Yes. Int? Yes. Long? No. In switch, long is not allowed. If you want to check it after the class, you can check. Take there long and check. And can we use float and double for decimal type of case labels? If it is 1.1, print A. If it is 1.2, print B. Like that, can we go for? No. Float and double is not allowed for a switch. Then can we use character? Yes, we can. Can we use Boolean? No, because true or false type of expression is not allowed. Therefore, Boolean is not allowed. Can we use string? Yes, we can use string. So these are the variable existing variable type has to be byte or short or int or character or string only. If you're trying to use something else, switch will throw the error. Clear? Yeah. So this is one. So here the important points are the next question. For example, case value 1, predicted value 1, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, then default. Is it mandatory that we have to follow the order of case labels, or we can write anything is anywhere? For example, so there is a case 1, then case 2, case 3, 4 like this, they are there. So now my question is, instead of writing 1, 2, 3, 4, can we write case 3 first, then case 1 second, case 2, then case 4, then default? Can we change the order?
It
Yes or
should
no?
be in order, right?
It must be in order, or we can write in jumbled order?
Yes.
Must be,
Must be so.
not required. Okay. My conclusion is, so here when I introduce switch, what is the point I said? According to the required value, JVM will jump to that particular case. Yes or no? Then if that case is first only, it will jump, or if the case is in the last also, it will jump there only. It will jump to any value. Therefore, order matters or doesn't matter? Doesn't matter. Case label order can be any. So I'll make a proper statement. The order of case labels. These are called as case labels. The order of case labels can be any order. Can be any order. Then here is one important point. Can we write default first? Yes or no? Please guess an answer if you don't know.
Yes, sir.
Can we write default also first, or this is not applicable for only default? This rule.
Default should be last.
Hmm.
Case values can be jumbled.
Jumbled. So my conclusion is, even we can change default also. Default also can be anywhere. So there is no exception for default. This statement is applicable for all case labels and also default as well. Okay. After understanding the syntax with some examples, then we'll experiment with all these things. The next, can we have duplicate predicted values? For example, case 1, then again case 1 only. Is it possible? No. Then here is a JVM's confusion. If the value is 1, which case JVM has to execute? That's why. So here predicted values has to be unique, or case label values. I'll write it. Case label values has to be unique. And they should be different from each other. Next, break is mandatory or optional? Break is mandatory. Break is not required. Break is optional. If you don't write break also, nothing will happen. Okay. But it's programmer's requirement. When we should not write, when we should write it. So we'll discuss with an example. But if we don't write break also, syntactically correct. Output wise, we'll get not expert outputs, different outputs will get it. That's a different point. But break is mandatory, no, break is optional. Yeah. So these are the important points about this switch syntax. Am I clear? Or do you have any questions? Please tell me. Am I clear, or
No
do you
doubt.
have any questions?
With examples, we can
Yeah, we'll go
understand.
for with example. We'll go with example only. Yeah. Shall we go for example? So now,
Yes.
in the previous class, to discuss if conditions with method, I have discussed one program of printing day name based on the day number. Correct? Now let us go for the same thing with the help of switch, and we'll understand how JVM executes the switch condition. So I'll take the reverse. Okay, so the requirement is print day name based on day number using switch. The requirement is 1 Sunday, 2 Monday, so 3 Tuesday. Like this, 7 invalid. Correct? Okay. So 1 to 7, there are 7 days. Then 8 is invalid. Or enter 0 to 7 only. Okay. So with this requirement, what is the input that is required for this? So for this requirement, what is the input? Integer, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are
Teacher.
integer types. Assume I'm writing inside a main method. This is my main method. That is public static void main. Then here, first one, int dn for day number equals some value, because logics will never depends on the values. Output depends on the value. Then after having an existing variable, can we go for switch now? Yes, switch completely in lowercase letters. Then parenthesis, existing variable name dn, then closing of parenthesis. Any semicolon is there? Only flower brackets, no semicolon. Switch body. Inside this switch body, what type of case labels are allowed? So for example, so here, what is this dn? Is a variable. It is of which type? Integer type. Then can we write character case labels? Can we write string case labels? What I mean to say, for example, can I write case something like Java? Is it correct?
No, sir.
No, because the existing variable is which type? Integer type. The case label values must match to the type of that. Therefore, writing this Java is syntactically wrong. Only what is allowed? Any integer prediction values are allowed. Any integer value is allowed, but not other types of values. So here, so I'm going for case 1. 1 is a value or variable? 1 is a value, correct? Then for this case 1, what is your expected output? System.out.println. So print Sunday. Then followed by break. The next case 2, then colon. What's output? Print of Monday. Then like this, all we have to write it. Then finally, I'm jumping to case 7. Then system.out.println. We can write in same line also, no problem. Then it is Saturday. Then finally, default. Then colon, print of enter 1 to 7 only. Then followed by here break, I forgot. Here also break. Then here also break. Yeah. So this is the switch program. So what is one more point? One more point is the switch existing variable type, the case predicted values has to match. Otherwise, syntactically wrong. Yeah. So this is the requirement. Now, what is JVM's execution flow? Assume we give 7. Then first 7 will be initialized to the dn variable. Then JVM comes to the switch. And here it takes the what value? dn is having some value now. What's the value? 7 is the value. So where this dn's value is currently 7. 7 means where it has to jump to. Its value is 7. Therefore, JVM will go to case 1. Will JVM goes to case 2? No. From here itself, directly JVM comes to case 7 and execute this line of code. So because of this print statement, what we'll get in the console? Saturday is output. After that, what is there? Break. Break means break the execution. So from here, JVM comes out of the switch block. That's it. This is how it is different, or it is direct execution of a predicted value compared to the series of if-else statements. That's how switch functions. For example, if I am giving some 100, now what's the order of execution? So first this 100 will be assigned to dn variable. Then JVM comes to switch block. Then where it goes next? So it directly jumps to default and executes what? This print statement, and the same thing we are going to get in the output. Then break, then execute comes out of the switch conditions. This is how the switch blocks will be executed. Only the predicted case label, if it is there, if it's not there, default. That's all. Understood? Yeah. So now we will take one scenario where I'm not using break. Assume this break is not there. As a programmer, it's mandatory or it's optional? It's optional. So I'm not writing. Because it is optional, I am preferring not to write it. Why should I type? Then let us understand what is the output for this. So for this scenario, I am taking 1 is my input. Then this 1 will be assigned to dn variable. Correct? The third scenario, where again JVM comes to switch first. Then here dn is having a value 1. Then where JVM should jump to? Case 1. Then execute this line of code. So because of this, what is output we are going to get? Sunday. Then what is there? What's next line? Break is not there. Then where JVM should go? JVM will execute the remaining lines of code.
Case 2.
So therefore, it execute this line as well. What's output we are going to get? Monday.
Okay.
Then what is there? Break is there. Now JVM will execute this or not? Yes. So because of this break, now execution will be stopped. But are we getting the expert output for one scenario? No, we are getting one more extra output which is not required or which is not correct for scenario of 1. That's why it's required or it's not required to write a break here. It is required for a programmer to write the break statement in this scenario. Understood? Yeah. So here we have to write the break in every of these scenarios. So then only for this requirement, it's a correct program. Understood? Yeah. Next, to understand this switch, to test your understanding, I'm giving a next question. So it's your turn to write it. So I'll write the requirement. The requirement is write a Java program to print an alphabet is vowel or not vowel using switch. This is my question. Okay. I'll give you time. Please, you write in your notebooks.